If you're planning on buying any cards from TCG Player, make sure you use our affiliate link right here in the description of our video to help support the channel. It's the best way to do it and it's free. Looking for PTGO codes? Potown Store has all the latest sets and promos, instantly delivered to your email. You can use Tablemon code when checking out for 5% off. Card Market is Europe's largest online marketplace for Pokemon cards. Whether you're looking for sealed product or singles, vintage or the latest sets, just follow the link in the description to find what you need. If you're looking for sealed product, Paladin Cards has some of the best deals and you can get 5% off any purchase with code TABLEMON5. This video is sponsored by the Pokemon TCG deck building website PokemonCard.io. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at Tablemon. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be taking a look at another Lost Origin deck, this time featuring a long-awaited card, one which we all thought would be available for Worlds this year, but in fact it was not. They definitely changed the structure this year, and it was good in a way. The format didn't have a big shakeup, which to some makes it better in terms of trying to analyze and choose the best deck for Worlds. For others, it took away a lot of the excitement of a brand new set at the World Championships to see new strategies come into play, as we saw in the 2017, 2018, and 2019 World Championships. This time around, we have something a little bit different. We only had Pokemon Go. If you are watching this right now, that means the Pokemon World Championships already happened, and we already know who was the world champion. Hopefully me, right? But I am Pablo from the past, so I don't know what happened at Worlds exactly. But anyways, Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR from the Legends of Arceus game has a pretty cool attack, if I may say so myself. The Tricky Curse attack does 50 damage for each of your Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. So how are we going to get damage counters on our Pokemon? There's a few ways, but before we go into those, we're gonna see its V-Star ability, which lets you discard your hand and you draw 7 cards. So similar to Rayquaza GX's GX attack, which helped it set up. You discard your hand, you draw 7 cards. This time it's an ability, so you get to do that and still continue to draw and find other things. Now Hisuian Zoroark, being colorless type, is pretty good. Gets to use the powerful energy right here, gets to take advantage of Dunsparce to eliminate its weakness, but its best partner in order to help it get the damage going on your Pokemon is Gengar. Its ability Back Alligate. Once in your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench, and then you put 3 damage counters on this Pokemon. So that is one way you can get damage on your benched Pokemon, which is pretty good. Getting a stage 2 into play is I mean, we have seen a lot of ways with the Mustard cards, with Archies in the past, Maxis in the past. So now we have Gengar, and its Screaming Circle attack lets you put 2 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon for each of their benched Pokemon. So decent attack for a single Psychic, but we are not going to be utilizing that as we don't have any Psychic energy ourselves. Now, that's good for Gengar, right? But how on earth are we going to get other Pokemon damaged so that we can do a lot of damage? If we have all 6 Pokemon damaged, Tricky Curse can do up to 300 damage, or 280 with the double turbo energy, which is a 1-hit KO on every other V-Star. So how are we going to accomplish this? Well, with this also brand new card, Damage Pump, where you may move up to 2 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to your other Pokemon in any way you like. So 1 Gengar placing 3 damage counters and then 1 damage pump means you will be able to move damage counters to 2 other Pokemon, letting you have 3 Pokemon damaged and ready to power up Hisuian Zoroark V-Star's attack. Now finally, we also have the Gape Jaw Bug, where when you play a basic Pokemon from your hand to your bench, both yourself and your opponent, since it is a stadium card, you place 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So timing the Gape Jaw Bug, playing the damage pump, which we do play 4 of, and getting Gengar out will be how we spread a little bit of damage, sprinkle a little bit of damage to our own Pokemon so that we can do the maximum damage with Hisuian Zoroark. Now, it's pretty cool that it gets to attack for 2 colorless, which means Double Turbo can power it up, but we are also playing a copy of Melanie and a few water energy so that we can get an extra energy attachment that way in case we need it and attack with 2 waters or a powerful energy. Now, 280 is a really good amount, but with Choice Belt, that becomes 310, which is enough to 1 KO Big Charmed Arceus V-Stars. And with a powerful energy, we are dealing up to 330 damage, or through the Halucha, the Radiant Halucha, we get up to 340 damage, which is enough to 1 KO every single Pokemon VMAX out there. So on paper, this deck has it all: 1 KO potential, consistency built into itself with its V-Star ability, which is really nice. It does get stopped by Fast to Peak, of course, but we do play 3 stadiums. You could arguably play a Pump to win this. And we also run Bibarel for support for this deck. We have Dunsparce to eliminate our weakness, which is always good. So this is similar-ish to Arceus, except it can hit for a lot more damage, potentially. We also have Diancie to protect our bench. We have Crobat B to draw extra cards. And then we have good old Research Boss Marnie, a copy of Avery as well, to attack an opponent's bench, and the Melanie that I did mention earlier. We do play 4 Quick Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, and 2 Illusion Incense, which is usually the standard you find in Bibarel decks, along with a Hisuian Heavy Ball to search for a potential Radiant Halucha, Dunsparce, or even the Crobat, or a Bidoof, or an extra Hisuian Zoroark V. You never know what else you might need to establish on your bench. Switching cards with Escape Rope and Herballoon to make sure that Bibarel doesn't get stuck in the active for some reason. Ordinary Run lets us recover cards that we might have discarded along the way due to Professor's research. And we also have the Choice Belts that I mentioned to increase our damage output and get to the big numbers. Now, this deck, like I said, on paper, it seems really good. When the card came out, everyone was super hyped about it, including myself. Yeah, I usually don't take a look at future cards, but being on social media, it's really hard to avoid the spoilers, in fact, to those cards. However, it is very surprising that so far in Japan, this deck is labeled as a tier 3 deck. Not even tier 2. Definitely not tier 1. It is just a tier 3. It's labeled as it's a fun concept. Like, it can work sometimes, but it's just not reliable enough, right? Compared to its other V-Star counterparts, Arceus and Palkia, perhaps. So I really want to try this out. It's gonna be one of the first decks that I try out on PTCGO once we have the Lost Origin set available to play with. But I mean, usually cards do come out way before in Japan. And for example, Giratina V-Star has already started having ripple effects in Japan. It's been doing pretty well, and even though you have the Lost Zone mechanic and you need that to power up, you don't rely on your full bench and discarding the Gengar and then moving the damage around and then powering up this Zoroark. All you need is your engine, which is Comfey, lets you draw cards each turn and places cards in the Lost Zone so that you can then accelerate energy. So there's like a lot more synergy, I guess, in between all the cards that work together. And you get the same amount of damage, 280, which is the key number right now, due to V-Stars maxing out at 270 and 290 at 280 HP. So we'll see, right? Haven't played with it. Sometimes I've seen this situation in Japan, all of a sudden that deck that wasn't doing well over there starts doing well here. There have been historically differences in our formats in the past, but now it seems like we are completely in sync, and with the delayed rotation that was announced, which will probably now be the norm, now we should always be in sync, right? In terms of card availability in the format. In terms of card releases, we're still not quite in sync, but we'll see. Yeah, looking forward to playing with Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR. But if you're on the fence of buying the card, perhaps wait a little bit once the hype of the initial set dwindles down and you can see for yourself how this deck is doing. At, like I said, this is Pablo in the past. Hopefully by now we have information on league ups, league challenges, starting in September perhaps, I don't know. And then we start seeing what this deck is actually made of. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like. Let me know what other card you'd like to see from Lost Origin, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.